Hi guys, welcome back to Conversations with Francesca's podcast. Last week we had a conversation regarding unwanted pregnancies in marriage, what to do when you are actually pregnant and you are not expecting to be pregnant. How do you navigate the tide? How do you trust God through that season of your life? In that episode, I also talked about the fact that we're going to be looking at how couples handle the season of waiting. You've been married. I was talking to a friend and I was saying that sometimes you get into certain situations and you don't even know what to do in those situations except you experience that situation. So imagine you being married, newlywed, unlike last week where we talked about planning pregnancy, being pregnant, like actually planning for it and not just getting into the scenario where you just got pregnant by mistake. But here you are married, expecting to be pregnant maybe 1 year, 2 years down the line, and it's just not happening. What do you do in that season of your life? How do you handle the anxiety, the fear, the pain, societal pressure that comes from waiting, that basically faces you when you're waiting, when you are in that season of your life? So today we're just going to be looking at all that. I'm going to be talking about how to navigate that season of your life, what you should be doing when you're waiting, how do you stay in God's will while you're still waiting on Him, trusting Him for the promise of a child. What do you do? One of the first few things that I've shared with a few persons in my life is when faced with a delay. Delay comes in different forms, really, and I know we're talking about delays now when it comes to conception, trusting God for a child, but there are delays and different delays in different aspects of everyone's life. I remember there was a season in my life while I was younger and I was trusting God to get admission into the university. Not that people now know, people in this part of the world do not understand what that probably means, but there was that time where you probably written JAMB, and you're there sitting, fingers crossed, trusting God that, my name will probably be in the first batch, second batch, or third batch, and then there you are. All the batches get released and still your name is not there, and you're wondering what exactly am I going to be doing now? What will the next phase of my life entail? The same thing. You're trusting God for a job. You're waiting through the process. You've made several applications and you're wondering, okay, when will this job come through for me? The same thing happens. So every season might come with something unique. This time around we're actually talking about what you would do when you're actually in that season where you're waiting on God for that gift of a child. In this motherhood series, we've consistently established that children are gifts. Psalm 127, we know that children are a gift from God. Bible says that the fruit of the womb is a reward. They are reward. It's a reward, exactly. So when we see that this children are gifts, the desire to birth them comes especially from two partners that really want to nurture, two partners that want to have children, two partners that desire to either mother and father a child, and then you're here, you're married, and this gift is not forthcoming. I was looking at the meaning of infertility, and I think it's the World Health Organization that defined it as a 12-month period where a couple consistently engages in sexual intercourse without having, without getting pregnant or without having a conception. That's when you can actually be considered moving towards that direction of infertility. So you can't obviously be married January of this year, and you're trying, and then by April you're already freaking out and thinking, am I infertile? You're not there yet. You're not even in that mix at all. But when you've consistently, actively trying to conceive and it's not happening, within that 12-month period, it is that time that you can maybe be considered to be bordering, getting to that borderline of infertility. Is there something wrong with your body? Is there, for the woman, is there something wrong with your body? Is there something that is naturally preventing you from conceiving? Those are the times where you want to start to have conversations with your physician. You want to meet your family doctor, you want to get referrals to a gynecologist, you want to talk about some of these things to understand what exactly is happening in my body. Why am I not conceiving? Why am I actively trying and I am not conceiving? The waiting period is a tough period. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to worry. Those are emotions that will naturally come to you in this season. Throw in the mix of family pressures. They're counting it is 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 9 months has passed and you do not have a pregnancy bump to show for the fact that you're married, and then they are watching what my friends and I call them womb watchers, and they are watching, paying attention to where you are in terms of your ability to conceive a child. They don't know what is going on, and for some of them, they don't even know if this was a deliberate if this was a deliberate decision, something you and your partner decided to do. So we're not ready to have kids yet, maybe, but they don't know that, and they are watching, they are judging, they are checking, they are looking at you and trying to figure out why you've not conceived yet. Those emotions are normal to have, they are regular thing. It's just important that as a couple, both of you are united and you stay together through this journey. Battling infertility is not something that should be done by one person in the marriage alone. It must be a united effort. It must be something that both of you are working at. Bible says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Both of you must be agreed in this journey. So it must be something that you both are actively working towards. So at no time should one person desire it and the other person doesn't. At no time must it be a decision for one party alone. At no time must one family be the only ones pushing for this. Both of you must be in sync. It must be both of you against the world, facing the world, going through the tides together. Going through the tides together, navigating the waters together as a couple. How does infertility affect how does it affect you guys as a couple? How does it affect everything? You begin to second guess yourself. You begin to wonder if there was something that you have done that you're probably paying for by not conceiving. You begin to, sometimes you get to that point of even being judgmental, because then you see other people that have children and then you're wondering, are they better than me? What exactly is it about them that makes it easy for them to conceive? For some, you begin to compare yourself with maybe other people within the family that has multiple kids, and you're wondering, okay, this one has this, that one has that, why not I? Then you begin to wonder. It can drive you to a state of will I call it borderline of anger, kind of, you're kind of very angry and you're wondering what else you need to do, or what have you not done, what T's have you not crossed, and what I's have you not dotted that you need to do so as to enable you birth children. Sometimes some of these things, it's not a function of anything that you did. It's just a function of the timing. It's a function of when God has said that you will birth your child. It is a function of when God has promised. And sometimes some of these things is a function of what we as individuals, as what we have refused to do. So take for instance a family or a couple battling infertility, and as is mostly typical, the wife is the one being pushed around, go to this doctor, go to XYZ, try this native medicine, try one concussion or the other, for those that don't understand what I'm trying to say. So basically from my country, my home country Nigeria, there are some herbal medications that you can try, some concussion here and there, you know, that they say boost fertility. You know, I haven't tried any of that, but I know that there are people that have tried it and they say it works. There are some people that have tried it and they say it doesn't work. So it's I think it also depends on your body, your preferences, and what will and what will not work for you. But say you're from that kind of family where it's just the wife that is being shoveled around, you know, to do all the tests, because in their opinion it is the woman that carries the child. But they seem to forget that it is basically what the man puts in that the woman births out, you know. So it must be something that both parties must be united in. So it must not be a she problem alone. It must be both a he and a she problem. So both of you must be willing to go see those doctors together, you know, run those tests, you know, check everything, do all the fertility exam, let them see where the problem lies so that it can be addressed quickly and easily. Ignore pressure from family, ignore pressure from society. I know it is easy to say. I know that battling those judging eyes, it's difficult. I know that responding to those looks, you know, can be tough, you know, but it is important that you stay resolute and you focus on what you're looking for. So this is a child that you want to birth. You're looking for this child. You must put yourself in a position where you are mentally and physically ready to birth that child. You know, and being in that position includes running all those tests, making sure that your hormones are at the appropriate levels. You know, your husband is doing the same thing, making sure that everything is checked and appropriate, making sure that everything is well done, everything is okay. You know, once you've checked all that, then you begin to think about what else can we do? What else have we not done? What other things can we do? You know, it is also important to hold on to God's word for your life as a couple. Hold on to God's word for your life as a couple. Hold on to God's word. I think it's Habakkuk 2, chapter 2, verse 3, that talks about writing down the vision, you know. Write it down. Write down what you're believing God for, you know, that seed that you are trusting God for. Write it down. It was a Hallelujah challenge that just concluded recently, and Pastor Nat was talking about dressing like your miracle. That's a step of faith in the right direction. So after writing it down, dress your miracle, call your child by name. Just hold on to God's promise for your life. If God has said this is what you will have, absolutely you will have it. So you have to be focused on that promise. You know how when God spoke to Abraham and told him, when God spoke to Abraham wasn't Abraham then, it was Abram, you know, and the Lord told him that he was going to be a father of nations. At that time, he wasn't even a father, not to talk of being a father of many nations. So you have to position yourself in a place where you can stay with God, where you can hold on to God's word. Hold on to God's word. Don't focus too much. Don't be too fixated on what you currently do not have, And like I said earlier, waiting entails different things for different people. So for us here, we're discussing waiting on God for a child, trusting God for conception. For some others, is waiting for other things, is waiting for maybe one big milestone to occur in your life, in the life of people that it is that period. It's important that even in that season of waiting, God's word is what is clear in your mind. It is visible. You can see it. That's why when Bible says, write it down. When Habakkuk 2:3 says, write down the vision, the intention is for you to see it, daily see it. So every time you wake up, you are recognizing that this is that vision. This is the vision of the child that I know that I will have. You have it in your mind, you see it, you visualize it, make it in such a way that kind of like you can basically hold it. There's a way you can visualize something that it becomes almost tangible. It becomes so real that it becomes tangible to you. And I know that it's not easy to do. It is not easy to do, but staying in God's word helps you through that process. Staying in God's word helps you through that process. I'm going to be coming back with a part 2. In the part 2, we'll talk about some of the options available for a couple that are waiting. We're going to look at God's word in terms of people that we've seen in scriptures that waited and how they bettered that promised child. Okay, if this is your first time here, do well to follow this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, do well to subscribe, do well to share, do well to like, comment. If you've lived through this experience of waiting before, please share your thoughts. Drop a note, drop a comment. This might just be somewhere where people can draw encouragement from. They can draw strength from the stories that you share. Until I see you back, it is your girl Francesca with Conversations with Francesca. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care. Bye.